Hopefully I don't drop. Start recording as well.
Review started. Review started.
Oh, the sound is fracturing.
Review started.
That's fine. Okay, we'll go ahead and reset this. Okay, let's go ahead and start recording. Alright, so the first game we'll be going over will be the Rain Dog versus Anna Joe. Fairly normal stuff. Tanuki is interesting here. I think normally you want to break the tiger's mouth here, and even if they play like this, it's not super good. They still need to add something here or block, but then you can take the base and they need to run away. The issue with Tanuki, obviously we read that this works, but then white can turn here, and when you connect, white has the ability to pincer the corner, so you feel cramped. You wouldn't necessarily want to answer, but if you don't, then you're giving up these stones for no reason. This would be slightly better for black. White should obviously go ahead and capture. So it's best to do some sort of answering here. Maybe we don't have to answer this one, but we still feel like we're giving white a little bit too much here. Oops. This is normal. The pincer's interesting. I see why we're doing it, but I think we should either follow up in the top right, or we can do a short pincer or back off. It can be a little worrisome if the opponent gets this, but remember, when the opponent plays for a large area, there's usually going to be weak points that they have to handle. So in this case, when they play a 3-space high back off, you always be able to play 3, and you can get this type of common pattern, or in this case you can end up in a position like this where the opponent takes they're forced to take a low position and kind of take an uncomfortable situation where they have two empty triangles. They can't really fight back in this particular position because they don't really have a good go threat. If they answer like this, we can now Tanuki, or you can back off with the 2 space. You can turn to attack this group on the top side, because these stones here are relatively strong, and I highly doubt the opponent's going to be able to attack these. And you can always do it later too. So this is customary, but usually this stone is here, and you'll see the opponents play like this. However, I don't think black really wants to play this way, especially if the opponent has the pincer stone this far. I would rather take a double approach or just play here directly. It feels cramped if the opponent plays like this, but you can attack high, you can take the base away from the opponent, and then come out. But I wouldn't want to directly answer with the slide here. I'd rather just take the corner directly. So you can also do that too. As such, you can do this one. You back off, they'll play here, and they have somewhat inefficient shape. So later you can play 11 at J4, or you can play here at H3, where the opponent will likely stand up, and you can see how white is actually really low on the bottom, while we have a large Shamari, but we can also take away the extra extension that they would have. So normally white would like to follow, white would also like to follow the corner up with an attachment. With something like this. So we'll play here. And then white can try to make the bottom a lot bigger. In the actual game, pincered, 3-3 is fine. I would not respond directly to this. So when white plays this way, we can play the Hane. And this is usually a creative Joseki. So you can play the large knights. Sometimes you can play this one. Usually any type of knight move here would work. You can also play this one, but it's a little too close. And of course, if you play any sort of direct connection here, it's too solid, too slow. And black will never respond anyways. But you want to be able to play fast with these. So like if you play up here, black responds, then you could turn in the corner. They need to respond, and then you can take the stone. If they connect, then you can go ahead and pincer. Which, if we look at how this connection here, it feels a little wonky. So maybe we want it to be out here, or we play a large kind of like this. So the idea is when they cut, we want to be able to do this, but this won't work. So that's why we play this one. And we can play the Atari, jump out here. So we can probably play this one instead. Where if they cut, we're going to connect on the outside. And with A being there, then we can now follow up with a little bit more reasonableness with something like this. And it feels like good shape. But the follow-up, after you play this, you didn't make the turn either, although at this point it would be Gote. White should definitely, sorry, not here. You didn't follow up here, but this would be Gote, and white would definitely play on the side, because when you play the Atari, Sure, you can get it, but white's going to just connect. I'm not 100% sure, but possibly you would also want to play this way, so now that you can cut, you can attack the one stone directly, even if the opponent plays this way. And you can see that white didn't fix the cut here. Although the cut didn't work in the first place, it does leave a lot of Aji when there's no supporting stone with the hanging stone here. But white also has to worry about the top side too. The game, black pincered, white attached. It's best not to attach to weak stones. So here you either want to jump out or get ahead of the opponent. If we're going to touch them regardless, we want to definitely get ahead of them. When you descend this way and they extend, you still need to run. So it might be better to either run out this way or try to double Hane. The idea being you either want to save the stone or you're going to try and sack them, but in this case black is happy to cut the stones off. So in this case we probably need to prep. We can do something like this. And then you can go ahead and attack the stones by jumping now. And you can also Hane as well. So in this case, when you Hane in the answer, you can descend. And this way, we're Haning at the head of 2 stones, and black needs to actually fix the weakness. So there's several ways. They can either extend down or they can extend up. And when we extend up, they need to fix the cut. So if black doesn't fix the cut, well, now we can just cut directly. And with the corner being so strong, they have a bit of an issue trying to save both sides. So even if black lives on the left side, the 3 stones are going to be floating. So in that case, maybe we can go ahead and do it this way and play here, but we don't have the supporting stones of these 2 peeps, so it'd definitely be a different fight. So we attached and then push up. So pushing behind is never a good idea. At this point, it might be better to just play this way. And then when they play here, we might have to give up the 1 stone. In the game, that is not a move. Hane, that's good. I would probably play here if you want to look to play faster, and then you can try pincering, but black shape is actually rock solid. And it's really hard after they play the tiger's mouth. So in this case, our group is actually not in any like serious danger at the moment. So you can think of playing this this way, and black needs to figure out how they're going to handle these stones. So if like this, you can descend. They need to either jump or Hane. And if we're still worried about this group, we can descend here and we're alive. If the opponent tries to be greedy with something like this, you can extend, or you can play here. You actually play 9 first, and then this way you can extend, and black needs to find a way to live. Black still needs to answer. If they play greedily like this, then you can Hane. They need to climb, play the Atari, and then Hane. Their group is dead. So black doesn't have time to play 16, so maybe they have to play this way. And you can do all the forcing moves, and then you're alive once you come back. So this would be a super effective way of fighting this. So black actually needs to run before they can try attacking the corner, and then you have time to come back and save yourself. In the actual game, we pushed a bit. Black got to extend from his wall, which is fine. Fixed is good. Yeah, so AI is saying that we don't need to fix here, and the reason is These two stones are really weak. But even if white could play this way... Whoops. Locally, you're alive. But also... that... you can make a double go. Or no, it's just a single go. But you can always fight the first go. Pretty sure black is supposed to be able to do something here. Yeah, so here you can make this go, and you can play this one as well. The only issue is if you play like this, white has a technicality of connecting under. So you have to be worried about the 4, but what if you just block here, right? If you play the Hane, then white can play the push through, and then you'll die. So you just play the empty triangle. In the actual game, we connected and we gave white this move, but white should actually just play here directly. No need to worry. So black already has a low stone here. We don't need to worry about this right now. We're not attacking the top right corner. We should definitely be focusing on that. That's a little weak. I know the proverb says Hane at the head of 2 stones, but white also has support, right? So you should just extend. If you play like this, you give the opponent the chance to cross-cut, and then you have to fix. So what happens when white gets, you know, something like this? This is a big capture, right? We fixed. Let's not play shape moves for the sake of it. We should definitely look at big points and try playing those. So we're kind of like helping black fix their shape, and then we gave them the option to also play in the corner, which is what happened in the game. A little bit more fighting. Not sure we need to answer this. I think you can go ahead and play this once, and then jump into either the start point, or you can 3/3 invade, and you can work with the Aji here. But there's definitely some more stuff that could happen. So in the game, black got to attack and we ignored. Okay, that's interesting. If we're going to attack, I would recommend pushing up. This is a little bit passive, and like if you're going to attack the stone, like you need to come out anyways, but you've made the extra stone issue. So like this, you still have to fix the weakness. But if you play here, you're playing 2 moves to take a liberty, where you would actually want... You'd actually want to play the Hane on top and not the Hane underneath. And here, I don't know why we played this move. Cutting is very valuable here. The opponent will most likely not give you this, as you can seal them in. So black is basically dead here. Chances are they'll play like this and try to kill. They can make Ko for life. Okay, in the actual game we played several moves. It is a cut, but do we actually need to defend that cut? If the opponent cuts like this, first of all, we can jump out. Second, we can always follow up our move elsewhere. And if the opponent answers, Well, then we can go back to surrounding the opponent, where if they try cutting us, we may not want to play the Atari, but at least our group is solid and out, and they might have still have some issues. So in the game, black jumps out and peeps. Black finally cuts white, so this is super big. In the end, white shape got cut, but black shape fixed itself when white played M2. So we're kind of seeing where the issue falls in. Essentially, we're not making use of our stones for attacking, and we're just helping our opponent. We're just fixing our opponent. So, for example, when we have helping stones here, we should cut. Here, we should make use of the honey. So, when our opponent honeys, we can drop down. Fixing cutting points that don't necessarily matter. Instead, it would have been better to just fix here in the first place. So when if black had connected here, then you can attack the top side. Attacking the top side is super important. So making sure we're not playing moves that are always fixing the opponent. So like these pushes, this move here, and then answering like cutting points here. So it's super important that we're being a little bit more active and we're aware of our own strengths rather than assuming that we're weak and using our opponent's stones to fix them. Any questions about the game? Okay. Oh, I don't have, that's fine. Oh, you can't hear me? Hello? I hope it's being captured.
I can hear.
I mean my, I'm recording the video, so hopefully it's being captured. If not, I'm going to have to figure out how to record this. Alright, let's go on to game 2. So we have Shuffles and Anna again. Ooh, okay, so we're playing Chinese opening. This is fun, we jumped in. The normal principle is we don't jump in because black is going to take us for a fight. And the idea is that we play on the outside to avoid that and force the opponent to play all their moves in one area. And then like this, you can see how white is spread out and playing fast while black is forced to consolidate on one side. And there's still gaps too, right? So it's not like they get everything, but it does mean that they have the advantage in that area. And so when you go in, you want to go in knowing that you're going to fight. Nothing wrong with playing the side, but maybe avoid the fight when it's too early. Here, probably just make the extension and accept that the opponent will either jump up or play something like this immediately. They will get the corner, but it does mean that we can jump into the right side. We can also Tanuki this as well. The only issue with Tanuki is that black is definitely going to try to put a lot of pressure on the group. So we may need to jump out. White jumps into the corner immediately. That's a little interesting. As you can see, the AI is suggesting just play the Joseki move anyways. But I think if you're going to leave these stones anyways, we should just play this way, or you can try this one too. So here, you can play this, and I think the move is here. Essentially, white lives in the corner, but black is going to get the attack on the two stones. So is the corner worth the value of giving black an attack on the outside while There is some thinness, but I'm not quite sure I would enjoy this position as white. I like the AI suggestion, so essentially, in this case, it's okay if the opponent gets to come under, because we'll either play on the outside or we'll descend again. But this does mean that black is going to get the wall, right? So, in general, this is kind of why we just don't jump in where the opponent is strong. Okay, so we blocked, but we gave the opponent the ability to block here. This essentially kills the corner. I don't know if this is the best way to handle it. I might try killing the opponent in a large way. You can also focus on attacking the white group. So we make the R9 stone a little bit stronger, so when the opponent jumps in, we can severely attack the 1 stone. But we're also attacking the 3 stones as well. And we do that, we can come back and kill the 1 stone effectively. But we should 100% not answer this. This is something that I would expect most single-digit queues to look at this and say, oh, that stone is just Aji, there's no way to live with it. In this case, black should answer this. But even if you did play here, this is a shape that all Q players must know. You should 100% know this shape. If you don't know what it is, I will tell you the name. It is the L group. L group is unconditionally dead. Even if you play first, you cannot make 2 eyes. Right? So playing here, you kind of let white off easy, because now they can play this way. They can now make a ko for the, well, not for the whole corner, but they do have to give it up, or when you try to kill everything, you have to come back and answer. You still have to come back and answer and get gote, but white can make a nice safe extension, and you kind of get this early endgame that's not super efficient, but white doesn't have to answer this. White can Tanuki. This is no good. Black just takes the 1 stone, and when you try coming out, black can kill it. So I'm not sure what we're trying in the corner. If we're going to come out or play safely, you should probably just detach, and then you can Hane. Or just come out entirely with a shoulder hit, which is a normal way of coming out with these stones. Normally the opponent will try attacking, and then you can just make space by turning here. Allow them to cut your shape, and then you can play alter because you're out the center. So it's kind of like we're playing in the wrong areas, and then we have to come back and fix the other area, but we've made the opponent too strong by playing in the wrong area. So there are consequences for trying to play in areas too early. Hane and then connect. This is fine. One thing we should learn is the double Hane, especially when you're on the outside. So like this, the opponent can play the Atari once and then extend. But here you always have the option of extending, you can Atari, you can Tanuki all together. You don't have to save the 1 stone. What your goal is you're supposed to make your opponent pushed into their own stone. So now the area is like super small. You even have this move. This is like super effective because you have 2 ways of connecting. You can kill the 2 stones, or you can connect under with T14. Okay, so in this position, I would 100% Tanuki as black and try to make the bottom even bigger. Opponent comes out, we just jump. Now when the opponent jumps in, I'm going to fight them. In the game, white continues to play this way, but there's an issue. You'll have to give up these stones. If you play this way, you run into the issue where black will capture those 2 stones, and if you push here, black captures the other 2 stones. So we need to fix with the tiger's mouth or by solid connection. If we fix here, black is going to get this nasty Hane. Not very nice. So extending is a small mistake. This move is fine. I would play a little bit faster. That's my preference. But I can respect the start point. The opponent has this large area. Unfortunately, this is a really nice move. I can appreciate that, but the follow-up for black is really nice because it helps him complete his framework. Instead, we probably need to take the large point by stopping the opponent's plan from making a large area. The opponent approach, probably not a good idea, Tanuki. Always nice to answer because now you're making your own framework. You've essentially done what black has done with the Chinese Fuseki. But when we Tanuki, you're offering black the opportunity to crosscut or jump in the corner, even jumping as a measure of attacking, but most likely black can just jump in immediately, especially in the corner. So this would kind of look like this. And if you connect, black has the 2 outside stones, which is really attacking this, especially with the influence. So the best thing you can probably get is something akin to this. But this is too good for black, right? So maybe we can play here. There is some issues with this one, but mostly black will probably kick and then jump. And we still have some issues, so if we don't fix them, black can try connecting under. Can give up the stone, let you connect, and then you can see that black has solidified the area. There's actually no more invasion Aji that we can probably use. So black has a lot of options when you Tanuki. This is interesting. I would not answer again. You're only helping the opponent by going down. Instead, I'd ask this question, and then you can come back to playing the 1 space jump or playing another knight's move. And the idea here is if white ever pushes and cuts, we just give up the 1 stone. Whereas with the other 1 space jump, we're going to fight the cut. So sometimes we also have the ladder, right? So like if we have this ladder, we're going to play it out, obviously. But we can afford to give up a stone to make sure that we solidify everything. So in this case, white got a large corner. I'd say black kind of messed up there. Center is probably not the direction you want to go. This is a little bit slack. And the reason for that is white can also build, right? So if we want to make the center as big as possible, we probably want to do moves like the shoulder hit, the cap. Cap is usually the first thing to think about. So that's important. So white caps, stopping you from capping themselves, but also kind of interferes with the sector line. Here we need to be a little bit braver. We should definitely Hane. And if the opponent extends, then we also extend. Eventually, you're going to get into this position where you need to fight. But probably this is the time to start asking your opponent questions down here. So for example, if your opponent knows Joseki and they blindly play it, maybe you can get away with stuff like this. Or you ask your opponent something like this, and then you can get a tripod group, right? If the opponent plays on the inside, well, now you have a little bit more room, wiggle room to kind of like go inside. If your opponent plays with something like this, then you're more likely to live in the group, especially with 1, because you can make some base moves. Moves for eyes. Playing a little bit scared, so we jumped in. Black following is good. This is fine. Probably Hane. You're probably worried about being cut here, but at least we're breaking in, right? If the opponent cuts, we can just take. And having this shape within a moyo like this, black needs to have white already surrounded. If they have to add a move, then it's just too easy to play moves that allow us to make eye shape. Probably something like along the lines of this. So now we're super strong. We're using the Panuki that we got to make eyes and capture stones that come in too far. But when you play like this, you're 100% giving the opponent too much, and it's a little too late to go in. Now when the opponent plays like this, you've made black really strong, and this area is huge. So we do break in a little bit. Black finally comes back and answers. There is some issue with this. So, for example, white can attach, and if you're not careful, sometimes white might be able to, if you lose a liberty on this group, white can just do this immediately. Otherwise, white can do this, and if you connect, white breaks through. If you extend, then white captures a few stones, and if white gets like the rest of the territory, it's possible that 3 stones could make a huge difference. And this is a game that I would say is definitely possible to mess up, simply because this large area can be invaded. But at this point, after black solidifies like these cutting points, and we tried to break in forcibly, it's a little bit harder to win. But potentially we can grab stones on the outside, so we might be able to win that way. Let's see what happens. So we save the 1 stone, but it's not super important, right? Like, you're trying to attack everything, but I would actually just let this go. You can play here and squeeze. And when they connect, then you can say that you have the whole left side here. You can now peep and then turn. So that would be like a strong way of trying to come back in the game. Unfortunately, I think the bottom right is a little too much. And if we didn't die in the top right, then possibly the game would be close. So in the actual game, we do connect. So we do get to fight the opponent. They have a ladder here. That's a little bit risky. I would just fix or bring this or block. We don't have to care about the 2 stones. This is a huge area. And then we should probably look to bring the stones out a little bit more to reduce the left side, either from this side or this side. Whatever white lets us do. Is there any questions about this game? I think the big thing we're just not invading early enough. And then probably playing on the wrong side of the moyo. Alright, let's go for the last game. Looks like this one is a little bit fun. Okay, classic opening. I see, we have a 5-3. Basa knows her things. Playing Joseki, which is good. I'm surprised we extended though. I would really recommend learning this. Not a big deal, but we do have to deal with, I mean, either way you have to deal with the cutting point, right? So putting your opponent a little bit low, so even if they were to enclose their own corner, later you can play this way. And now you have the ability to steal the corner back. Oops. In the game, we extended. Extend. Absolutely need to extend one more time, and then the opponent can either tanuki or jump. When you don't, you're going to give your opponent the honey that has 3 stones. then you have to keep answering this. So white will just connect, you play here, but the damage is already done. White's already on the outside, and you're giving them side territory this way. Whereas if you just extend, they're flat. They don't have, you didn't allow them to bring the territory on the side up, but they have to either jump or they play a Shamari and then you get to play the turn, which I believe not full Sente, but it's a big turn. So in the game, we allowed the opponent to crawl. We answered. We didn't need to. We can turn. Remember, you have 2 connectings and you have an Atari that you can play. So we can connect and then they have to save the 2 stones. Otherwise you get to Atari and connect. If they play here, you have time to play the Atari once and then just connect underneath. You can even play this one. So if they play here, they can't cut you. Yeah, so white's peep here, I wouldn't really recommend it. It does allow you to play here, but connecting is going to be big. Or push. You can push as well. So we push after black is fixed the weakness. Essentially black can play here and now you have to fix. And then when they fix here, like this cut is mostly useless. And now you have to figure out how you're going to deal with the 1 stone, right? Even if black just plays here, you still have to deal with the right side. The right side becomes a lot bigger. So very simple, play like this, and then you can jump in. In the actual game, we push and attach. I think this is all fine. Very simple way of playing. This is a good move. Approaching the corner. I would still look into doing something like this. You still want to be able to put pressure on the group and then play one more time. Essentially, this will allow you to force your opponent to play in the Dame area, and then you can come back. If the opponent attaches, you can go down. And you don't have to play the avalanche, you can play simple. What you're definitely trying to do is make this area a lot larger while keeping white in an area of Dame. So white's attachment, probably not a great idea. I would probably play from the other side because of the stone here. And just like the AI is showing, you can just jump out. There's nothing wrong with jumping out here. You can even play something like this or attach in the corner. So in the actual game, this is fine. It's going to continue to tell us that black should play here. And again, we want white to be playing in the Dame, where we can make territory, right? If you control the center fight, then you can control where you earn points. When you don't do that, you allow the opponent to force you to take smaller territory. Like, for example, if you just play this way, you take a bunch of points, but then your opponent gets this like nice wall towards the bottom that you could have been playing towards. So big thing about controlling. Okay, so the opponent is still, I don't mind this as much. This is probably okay. But when I look at the board, I kind of still want to bring up this side. This is a large area. If I just play here randomly, then the opponent will definitely think about bringing the stones out, where black is already thick and strong here. And now you have to worry about these stones. Even if black just tanukis, the 2 stones are still in danger. There's also the fact that black could just play here as well. and playing lightly like this, so you're forced to take the points, and then eventually when black jumps out, like you have to continue running, and black is getting even more points on the bottom. While you have nothing to show for it because of the weakness here. So it's a good idea to expand the center, but maybe we're focusing on the wrong side. But this is a good idea in case you were worried about maybe the group being a little floaty. Jumping in 3-3, smart move. Ignoring that, I think you should Hane at least once. If they Hane back, now you can Tanuki. If you're really worried about the group, maybe we should have double Haned. And like with this Joseki, and Tai connect, and then we take it. Black, you kind of have a fighting stone here already, so if black just Tanukis, say on the bottom, you can play this really sharp move that attacks the ice base. And in this case, even if black tries to connect under, you're making the wall larger, and you're expanding the top side. So when they do connect, then you can push, and this would be okay. In the actual game, we Tanuki'd. Double Hane is interesting. There is a severe weakness with a double Hane. Even if like this, sure, white can play the Atari once, but we've done enough damage here that we can break into the top side. So let's not be too worried about stones that we don't need to save. Instead, we should focus on our opponent's weakness and follow some principled ideas. Hane at the head of 2 stones, 3 stones. Double Hane wasn't very good. Definitely should just extend. Yeah, so at this point, we should recognize that the area is already settled. There's no real value in this area. Instead, when the opponent answers like this, I think white would be happy to seal the top side and remove the Aji that was here.
Something happens in the upper left eventually, and I managed to get in.
That's good, but maybe we can do that a lot sooner, right?
Yeah, I didn't think of it until then. I have a hard time finding my opponent's weaknesses.
The way that I think some players can solve this issue is just try to actively be aggressive and then learn from it.
Right.
So here, like, if I notice, like, if you just think about the proverb, right? Hane at the head of 2 stones, Hane at the head of 3 stones.
Right.
If you do Sumigo, you notice that maybe you don't, I don't know, but you'll notice that, wow, there's another one right here. I can just play this one, and my opponent has some weaknesses. So in the actual game, we played a little bit of answering. We did get solid territory, which is nice, but the cost that it came with is that white is starting to play in the center where their weak group was, and we no longer have value in the M7 stone, and we have to play moves like M4. So we can't make the bottom bigger as we would like to. So the weakness seems like it's going to be in the top left for a while. This is a big move if we consider the top left not a thing. And I think it looks like it's just going to be there for a while based on the graph. Yeah. Okay, so locally this fight's fine. But when we attack the opponent, we probably want to play something like this. Maybe not that one specifically. Because if they block here, we can push and cut. Because we have strength. For example, we can play this way. And they need to play here. We can push. If they try to extend the stones out, eventually they'll extend too far. And they'll give us this, which we can break. But I wouldn't want to dive in low. I think we can dive in high, or we need to dive. Probably just not dive. I think we need to play here first. We can still aim to attack this group. Essentially, the opponent played a high move, not low. So we don't have to worry about. Whoops, sorry. We don't have to worry about the opponent. It's a little bit lagging. Okay. We don't have to worry about the opponent sliding underneath. So this move we can play here first. If they answer, then this makes a lot of sense. Whereas if you just do it first, I think white should just kick. Playing on top is fine, but I would rather just go all in and say, like, you can try to live, but it only hurts you, not me. So we played on top, and then we allowed the opponent to connect under. When we play with this shape, we run into a large issue where there's the double cutting point. And if you connect, we get this side. If you play, well, we'll probably play here, which is Sente. You have to take, and then they can play this one to seal you off, or they can just play here. And if they have the liberties, they can try to fight you, but I'm going to assume they can't do this. So more likely, they will play 5 at the nose, which is a Tsuji, and then they can cover. And you can kind of see how you have a few points. I'm sorry, what?
It's big.
Yeah, the center's very big.
Yeah.
Okay. With the extra push, you can actually just cut here now. You might be worried about white living in the corner, but you can take a liberty. The most that they can do is descend and then live like this. But the issue is that it's small. It's very small to live like this. Because black is just going to break into the center and start attacking. And then eventually, black will be able to come back here and play Hanes. And you can probably kill white immediately, but I would argue that playing in the center will be white's downfall if you can get it. In the actual game, we didn't let the opponent. We didn't cut the opponent, but we did stop them from going through, which is fine. Here, maybe we should play this one. Idea being, even if they get this, we can still cut. I didn't fully read this, but my suspicion is that this does not work for the opponent, mostly because at any extension that they do, they're always going to be 1 liberty short. So that side, 1 liberty short. When they Atari and let you connect, and they descend, 1 liberty short. Even here, we still have 2 liberties on the outside. So they have no time to play this way either. It is concerning if they do get this, though. So we do need to be very conscious that, you know, we don't have a lot of liberties on these groups. Alright. Looks like there is a big fight. We did let white get a big center. We didn't do anything. You got the Hane, which is great. I played the Tari, break in. Yeah, at this point, we should have recognized that we had issues with that group. And, oh, I see. So the idea here is, like, you'll take, but we probably can play this way. Essentially, black will connect, and then we need to fix. But you give black a little bit of an edge breaking in. So you take the Atari, is very painful. You can... anything. AI wants you to extend, but I understand that sometimes codes are super scary. The issue with this type of co is if we look at the position, let me turn off AI here. If you look at this position, right, you're basically taking, it looks like 4/5 of a quadrant. And when the opponent blocks and tries to make a co-threat, the only question you have to the only question you have to ask is it bigger than 4/5 of a quadrant? Usually the answer is going to be no.
Right.
So if they take this, that's fine. You can take your corner. I'll just live with the group. If they play here, you'll just say, that's fine. I'm going to try to live with this group. And if it fails, you can always come back and just save your stone. Because at the end of well, you don't have to save your stone either. Because at the end of the day, like, you've just broken into one of White's largest areas. That means the center is no longer as big as it was.
Right.
So in the actual game, we got to break in even further. What happened that you started losing? Oh, I see. I'm assuming you lost stones.
It was a 6.5 loss.
So you saved those ones.
Here it is. It's, I think it's when White comes and breaks at the G1 area. I think that took away some points from me, I guess.
You saved those. It's fine. Yeah. You didn't need to do that. In fact,
if I had played it like G3 instead.
I think you can just protect here.
Right, and they wouldn't have reduced as much because if that's worth 6.5 points, then that's how I lost.
Yeah. So the biggest thing is, at least for you guys, is recognizing just the large areas, right? So for White, the large area is here, and then for Black, this area is super large too, because now you can force, like, you're almost getting, imagine, like, you continue the line, right? Your opponent has to continue running, and then eventually you just drop down. You're basically getting a full quadrant, right?
Yeah, it looks great.
Do you have any questions about the game?
No, and thank you very much.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to end it there.